It's next time. See you now. I shot a gun.
Hey kids, remember...
We're talking about sequels.
Yeah, remember like 4 episodes ago where I hinted I had a subject topic and then we kind of just sidetracked?
Well, listen. We're just making a podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I'm losing stacks.
You literally are. I don't know. I don't really have much more to say about Guardians 2, unless you have something to come back to it. But, so speaking of really terrible sequels, I saw a movie yesterday that I think might be the most disappointing movie of 2017 for me.
Yeah.
Like, at least my personal biggest disappointment. And that film, you want to guess what it is?
I haven't been paying attention to
movies. Okay. That film is K2, The Golden Corral.
Oh.
Better known as Kingsman 2, The Golden Circle.
I forgot that fucking... I keep forgetting about that movie.
Yeah. So, Kyle, you knew me when Kingsman came out, and I even dragged you to Kingsman, and you liked it.
Dude, that joke at the end wasn't funny. The anal joke, it wasn't funny.
Anal. Well, I'll get to how...
It's a bad movie, sexist.
Yeah, in Kingsman 2 one-ups that joke in genuinely being unfunny. And
quality.
Played out and not at all fun. But I'll get to that in a minute. So, yeah, I saw Kingsman 2 yesterday. And I had heard some of the reviews. I knew it wasn't, people were saying it wasn't as good as the first one, which again, like, I was kind of, here, let me kind of preface this with saying, I was kind of banking on Kingsman 2 being as good, being better. Because you put it really well. Kingsman is kind of a prequel without all the boring parts.
Yeah.
Kingsman kind of essentially has its... Okay, then. That's very
yeah, this game's weird,
correct. Dude. Kingsman essentially has... it is kind of a prequel. It's a character origin. It's an origin story. But without all the boring elements. But at the same time, what people like... What's good from the movie Kingsman is not what was good from the comic. Like, I was really worried they weren't going to do what I liked from the graphic novel originally, which is the whole spy school stuff. But they do the spy school stuff, but then you realize you care more about the Colin Firth, James Bond stuff, and, like, the genuinely, like, villain plot and Samuel Jackson and all that, and, like, that's the cool part. And that's the part that's really good and you remember. Like, you forget about the 10-minute skydiving scene in the school and stuff. And, like, it's not bad necessarily, but it's just... You compared, like... the scene where all the water comes up and he has to get out of the bedroom with the water in it versus the church scene. Which scene is more remembered out of those two? Like...
Yeah, I mean, it feels like a setup for making James Bond better.
It does, completely. Because it feels like it's doing... Because it's taking kind of a very Roger Moore era Bond... but playing against a lot of cliches, but also still feeling like it's kind of a very loving homage to Roger Moore era Bond.
Right. It tried to be a smart James Bond movie.
Yeah, and I'd say it succeeded in that. I'd say it did really well, and I feel like, though not bad, I feel like it's only parts where it kind of is not pinned down, but I guess the parts you forget is all like the second act and stuff, is the parts that you don't really remember of like the first and second act. And I feel like the sequel had the potential to just be the good parts of Kingsman, but as a full film. And to keep going and keeping that trend of making Bond smart and making Bond good, and keeping that going.
Are great. What are you talking about? Dude, they already made Bond smart. Haven't you seen Austin Powers?
Actually, no. But
I was surprised at how unfunny Austin Powers was trying to go back and watch it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it looks a hell of a lot more funny than Kingsman 2, but we'll get to that. There isn't a joke in Kingsman 2 that is funny. Well, except one, but...
Anyway. Only funny part of Austin Powers is Mike Myers' face.
Well...
Yeah, babe! That's it. That's the only funny part.
Dude, I love him in Inglourious Bastards. Fucking, what was I gonna say? Yeah, and also my other thing, too, though, was I was worried that there wasn't gonna be a Kingsman 2, because Matthew Vaughn notoriously doesn't make sequels to his films, or more so, he'll announce he's making a sequel
And then not.
and then drop out halfway through. Like, he was like, yeah, I'll do Kick-Ass 2, and then he dropped out to make First Class.
But
and
the
it's like,
Kick-Ass 2 came out.
yeah, it still got made, but it was by a shitty and terrible director and was a terrible film. And then he was
just
like
the first one.
I think Kick-Ass is...
I've never seen it.
It's pretty good,
Isn't
but...
Nick Cage in that movie?
He is, and he's one of the better parts. Him and Chloe Grace Moretz are the better parts of that movie. Anyway, or then he makes First Class, and he's like, yeah, I'll do the sequel to First Class, and then he drops out to make Kingsman. So I was like, yeah, I'll do Kingsman, and I was like, you're gonna drop out and do another Miller property or something, but he was like, no, I'm actually doing Kingsman, so I'm like, okay, let's do this. So I wasn't expecting this film to be terrible. I feel like if it couldn't necessarily build off of the original, it could at least do what people liked about the original more so.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I thought. Okay, but I think after vamping enough, I should get into this film, which I've read some reviews.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Who cares? Midnight review, midnight screening rules, which now midnight screening is live, but midnight screening rules, spoilers all the way. But Kyle, you saw the film. Tell me, how much Elton John do you like in your Kingsman movies?
What?
How much screen time should Elton John get in a Kingsman film?
Why is he there?
No. How much screen time would you say?
Like one scene where he gets shot in the face or something. I don't know.
One scene. I'm sorry. Did you say?
That sounds like a disappointing joke.
Did you say 20 minutes of Elton John at least? Probably more than that over the span of a good 6 or 7 scenes throughout the entire film.
No thanks. I'm good.
If you did, then that's how much Elton John is in this Kingsman movie. And you want to know? You want to know something else? He's the best part of this film. Elton John is the best actor, character, and only joke / running gag in this movie. And purely out of how stupid it is. And just Elton John is in this film for barely a reason. And he's just playing himself. He's just, I'm Elton John, and here I am. Okay, Kyle, now tell me. How much awkward scenes of having to finger a girl at a music festival do you want in your Kingsman movie?
That sounds like it's from a different movie.
Did you say nearly 10-minute scene that feels like it goes on for a half hour? Because if so, then that's how much awkward scenes of awkwardly having to seduce a girl at a music festival to finger her that you get. Oh, that was cool. He shot a robot with another robot.
That was pretty cool. There was a big controversy when Borderlands 1 came out.
Yes.
A lot of people were saying they didn't want to play as... Because Roland was a playable character in the first one.
Cool.
And a lot of people were like, I'm not going to play this game because I don't want to play as a black guy.
That's actively racist.
Yeah, it is. See, that game came out in like 2009. And you're like, wow, that's long for racism. But, you know, that doesn't happen anymore. But Watch Dogs 2 had a bunch of people saying, I'm not going to play Watch Dogs 2 because the main character's a black guy.
Yeah, no, there's...
And you know what the dumbest part about it is for Borderlands?
What?
The game's in first person. You would never know that you're black.
Nice.
Anyway, sorry, continue.
No, that's fine. It's a good...
Just an interesting bit of trivia about that.
Bit of not me ranting. What else? I had a third one for my fucking Rule of Threes.
Sounds like a mess.
Well, it is a mess. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking about it. The whole thing in Kingsman is like there's this whole society or whatever, but he kind of has to go at it on its own. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I like kind of forgot that entire movie.
Yeah. Well, I feel like most people did, which was kind of my point. I feel like most people forgot outside of the third act and some scenes from...
But basically,
yeah,
for some reason, he's left... It's just him and, like, another guy. And they're, like, the only people left to take...
It's
to
him and Mark
Sam
Strong
Jackson.
Because Alfred, who's in this movie, is actually working with Samuel L. Jackson. So they don't know how many other people have already infiltrated.
Oh, right.
So they're like, we just gotta...
So the organization still existed, but they couldn't trust it.
Yes, exactly.
But in essence, that's the same thing as the organization doesn't exist anymore, and these are the only 2 members.
It is in essence, and you think that should work because you're like, oh, okay, this is like kind of a cool like Ghost Mission Possible, Ghost Protocol kind of, they're on their own, Rogue Nation kind of thing. Because yeah, the movie, if you've seen the trailer, Kingsman is destroyed in the first scene.
And so I didn't think about it having watched the trailer, but thinking about it now, it's like, okay, didn't that kind of happen in the first one though?
Yeah.
Not in the same way, but still.
But it did still happen. And guess what? Most of Kingsman 2 is going, well, didn't that kind of happen in the first movie?
Oh.
Because, yeah, the whole thing is blown up, and then it's just him and Mark Strong are the only ones alive. They kill Roxy, also, which is, like, she was a cool character, but now she's dead, so whatever. Mark Strong is, yeah, him and Mark Strong. But then they go over to Statesman, and then they're just hanging out in Statesman. So they're not even really on their own anymore. Oh. It's them just working with American Kingsmen. And it's them and Jeff... Oh, that was the third one. So, Kyle, tell me how much not Mark Hamill. I wish. Mark Hamill was in the first
all
one.
of it.
But he died. How much Channing Tatum and Jeff Bridges
oh my god, please, yes. I want them to be the main characters, actually.
I know, I do too. Did you say less screen time combined than Elton John?
Huh.
Because if you did, then that's what you get.
Man, you know, it's interesting because, like, Channing Tatum's a bit of a meme.
Yeah.
But that's, like, the perfect movie for him.
No, I did. And I predicted it, too. I was talking to Matt, and we were talking about, like, oh, who should they cast? And I was like, Channing Tatum. Do Channing Tatum. And then they did.
Yeah,
I was like, oh,
great.
shit. Channing Tatum literally gets put on ice in this movie. In, like, the first act. So the whole plot is Julianne Moore is the world's greatest drug dealer. But she poisons all her drugs. And you know you're poisoned because you have blue lines all over your face. So Channing Tatum has blue lines, so like, oh shit, you're poisoned. So we gotta put you in a medically induced coma, and then put you in a freezing tube, and then we don't see Channing Tatum after like the first scene he's in.
Why?
Yeah.
Why is he even there?
Why is he even there? Exactly. Why do you blow up Kingsman if then you go to essentially another Kingsman for the rest of the film?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the movie would, if it was about anything, it would be about them building a new Kingsman.
Yeah.
Regardless of if it even blew up or not.
Exactly.
Because they already had the plot line.
Because they had it blow up at the end of the first one, and when everyone's heads literally exploded. Like, you could have done that. You could have already had Kingsman blow up. But instead, no, they blow up in one scene, and then they go to another Kingsman, and then you have Channing Tatum for one scene, and then, yeah, he literally gets put on ice, but then you're replaced with essentially the same character, but just, it's this other guy, and then he's there, and then he's falling around with Taron Egerton, and it's like, well, why didn't this guy just beat Channing Tatum then? Because it's the same character. Yeah. And then Jeff Bridges is there, but he's only in the boardroom a couple of times. Like, Kingsman 1 has cameos and roles you weren't expecting in, like, a surprising, fun way. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not expecting Mark Hamill to show up in the movie. Like, you don't expect Samuel Jackson to be the villain in the way he's the villain.
Right, because
yeah,
the movie takes advantage of your perceptions of the actors.
Yeah.
To change the way the movie plays out.
You don't expect the dude from Coupling to show up for a scene and then get chopped in half. Like, it's fun, cool characters who show up and you're like, oh shit.
Dude, did you say Coupling? I love
British Friends. Stephen Moffat.
Yeah.
He
made that show.
You don't expect Michael Caine to be like the other villain. You're like, what? Oh, okay, cool.
I was gonna try and do an impression, but I know I can't. So
no, go for it.
No.
Michael Caine?
It was gonna be a whole fucking stupid Batman thing.
Master Bruce!
Yeah, the scene where he's like...
I won't bury you.
Yeah.
I've buried enough members of the Wayne family.
Yeah. Ever since I heard your cries first echo through these halls.
What if I told you I burned that letter?
God damn.
Dark Knight Rises is a masterpiece.
Stupid, dude. So dumb.
Oh god.
Sorry.
No, it's great. Fucking what was I gonna? Yeah, you don't expect any of that to be that good, but then it is. But this one is just like, hey guys, it's Jeff Bridges, and then there he goes. Hey guys, it's Channing Tatum. There he goes. hey guys, it's Julianne Moore for some reason. Oh, okay. And it doesn't even have as many cameos. It's not like, at least not that I could notice. I mean, maybe it's like really deep cut for British people, but yeah, you could have just, it's like, why do you do this when you could have easily done this? And it's like, why not just keep Channing Tatum, because that's awesome? Why not have Jeff Bridges be in the movie for more than like 3 scenes? Why not have... Well, yeah, Halle Berry's in the movie for like 2 scenes because she's like the American Mark Strong, but then she just doesn't do anything. She just does... She literally just is in all the scenes Mark Strong is in, so you're like, why didn't you either kill Mark Strong and have Halle Berry be this character, or just keep Mark Strong and not have Halle Berry be a character?
Yeah.
None of these characters have anything to do. None of these characters are characters. You know how, like, in the first movie, when all the characters were, like, fun and, like, really unique, and you're like, wow, I've never seen this in a spy movie before. Now they're just all generic, exposition-spewing characters who don't do anything.
Yeah.
And also, the thing is, I wouldn't be as mad... This isn't gonna be... I don't know, maybe it will be, but this isn't gonna be, like, my hour-long La La Land review where I have all these different points on how it's terrible. I'm just kind of gonna go through, kind of just have a line of thought of why I don't like this, but... I wouldn't be as mad if it was, like, it's just a generic action film, but it has good action. After the opening action scene, I would say there's 90 minutes before... I would say there's at least an hour before there's another action scene. Outside of, like, a 1-minute fight with Channing Tatum, which you think is going to last a lot longer, but then it doesn't. And then you're like, what? And then there's, like, a bit... They do the joke... Oh, yeah, Colin Firth comes back in this one. Because, you know, the whole point of Eggsy's character was that he wasn't expecting Colin Firth to die, so he has to become Colin Firth and live out his legacy. No, he's just back now. Yeah. So, you know, that whole point of a character arc. What's a character arc? What's story? No, just bring him back. People liked him in the first movie, so do him again. Colin Firth comes back, but then he has memory loss. He has amnesia. So he's like, oh, I don't remember what it was like I'm not a spy, and then they have to convince him he's a spy. So why bring him back in the first place? Even at the end, when he regains his memory, he doesn't really act like he did in the first film. He's just sort of this generic kind of, oh, I'm action-y, I'm cool. Like, it doesn't... But again, there's no action in this film. There's a good first fight, there's a good opening fight scene that is awesome. And then up until the literal final fight, I would argue, and this is where Matt agrees with me on most points. Sorry, I know we keep shitting on Matt for no reason. It's kind of a fucking cliche at this point, but Matt agrees with me on most points on this, because he doesn't really... He said he enjoyed the film, but he kind of acknowledges its flaws. But he said he enjoyed the action, but, like, there's no action outside of the first and last fight scene. There's nothing. And the action there is just boring and generic, and honestly, it feels like the film itself doesn't really care, because usually it actually just straight up happens in the background. Like, usually it's the main characters are talking, and there'll be action happening behind it. So you're like, what is the point of this action scene? And then they're... I don't know. So if you're gonna watch... Don't watch Kingsman 2. I know you weren't going to, but don't watch Kingsman 2. But do, in 6 months, YouTube Kingsman opening fight scene, and then watch because that is legitimately really good. The Kingsman opening fight scene is amazing, and it starts out so strong. But honestly, I kind of wish it didn't exist, because it tricks you into thinking this movie's going to be good. Because you're like, holy shit, this fight scene's awesome. There's Prince music, and it's like a fight in a car, and it's like super cool. There's no fight scene like that again. And there's a one take at the end, and then, like, also, I guess, do Kingsman final fight scene. It's not as good, but if you want to listen to a weird country western version of Word Up, then that plays during the final fight for some reason. It's not good so much as it just weird, and it feels like honestly, Kyle, you could have done a better mashup.
Damn.
I mean that genuinely, not as an insult to you, but, like, you could have done a better mashup if you were given Word Up in a country song. I don't know. I'm kind of just ranting at this point, but
as usual,
I was very disappointed by this film, and
can I actually set these guys on fire without just fucking?
Do you have to fuck them to set them on fire?
No.
Or you didn't start the fire. It's always been burning.
I think my gun's gonna be too strong for this.
So you're saying
Yeah, I'm
your
just
gun
fucking one-shotting. I literally...
is the strongest?
I just have to wait until they grow up, I guess.
They
Maybe
don't
if
want to be
they-
told to grow up.
If they... Dude, I love Disney Skate Adventure. Is that too obscure?
No, it's not. It's all our humor is
Jesus
obscure.
Christ, dude. I can't fucking do it. I have to go, like,
Oh, fuck me. I can't fucking do it.
buy a shitty fire gun or something. I don't know. This is, like, impossible.
Okay, so I'm done. That's my rant on Kingsman 2. It's really bad. I hate it. But anyway, we can go back to actually having a conversation instead of just me talking.
No, that's pretty much how it goes. Also, we're out of time.
All right.
We always go over.
Yeah, you know.
So, next time, I'll try and find a fucking gun that actually works for this so I can continue playing the game.